decided to come and visit with another session. Today is going to be kind of a radical type discussion. I want to make sure that I put my disclaimer in up front. Disclaimer is that I want to make sure that everyone, I'm going to read this, I want to make sure everyone viewing this live knows that I'm not singling out any one religion or talking about any one religious belief. I want everyone to know who watches this live that I personally believe in a higher power. One which is more powerful than I can imagine. And I also believe that this higher power has unconditional love for all people. So, what I want to talk about is that this higher power that I believe in is very proactive in our daily lives. All right, so there's more to the story about religion. And when I talk about religion, I'm talking about organized religion versus the scripture and the documents and the other part of religion. And I'm going to be talking about how that impacts with your sexual life because that massive religious belief and values and core is how we made decisions, and it has definitely affected a number of people's lives that I've been associated with. One of the things is that I want to make sure that everybody understands that recently in the past couple of months, I've realized that there are a number of people that know more about religion than I do. And the weird part about it is that the reason that they learned about religion, not just one, but a whole myriad of religions, is that because of their values and their lifestyle, they were condemned and damned. They aren't allowed to take the sacraments in the church. They aren't going to be saved by the religion of man. Well, I don't know about you, but my belief system that I just told you about says they get a free ticket. They're in. All they have to do is just believe in a higher source. So one of the things that really is kind of one of their points that they brought up, which I think is very valid, so I'm going to talk about it, and that is that it is the interpretation of these scriptures and documents that were developed by man. Man heard these words and then wrote them down, and then the translation over time gets kind of manipulated and warped depending on what the particular evangelist at that time wanted to say. And with that, I personally have been around to see a lot of evangelistic leaders take a nosedive, because what their lifestyle said and what they were preaching from the pulpit were diametrically opposed. And they fell from grace. Okay, there are other religious leaders that I happen to like, and I'm not disparaging anything they say as long as they don't discriminate and separate different ideologies and different values and belief systems. I believe that everybody is going to get the free ride. That's all there is to it, because there's a true and loving God. So I'm not going to be pointing fingers at any one single religion. And I did in the past have a very religious girlfriend. And it was to the point where her religion said no premarital sex, so that when that subject came up, she felt terrible. And it really caused a dysfunction in the bedroom. So understand that because of a strong belief system, it can affect everything in the bedroom. And it's not your fault. No, because we've been taught that religion is a wonderful thing and that our religious leaders hold a higher level. And I really have a hard problem when those religious leaders use their position for different, having sex with children. It really bothers me. And manipulating from the pulpit, talking about politics and religion. I'm in the U.S. I believe that church and state should be separated. You can't be talking about both. So anyhow, it got to the point that I wanted to help people that are struggling with a religious belief that says you can't masturbate, you can't have premarital sex. If you do have sex, there's got to be a sheet between you and your partner. And the other part is that you can't have sex unless you're going to have children. So there's no contraceptives. And I don't know about you, but that is not the way that I really believe. All right? I think that, you know, when we really start looking at whether or not that's in the scripture versus from the pulpit and a personal opinion of a religious leader, I think we need to delve into that. So, one of the things that really impresses me is I have a number of friends that don't believe in the same religion as I do. They aren't a part of the same religion that I am. And they have the same core values. They have the same belief systems. And it's just interesting that their uh, life lessons have been different than mine. But reality is that we're all together in the same boat. And we need to be able to talk about it across the table without looking at individuals' life or religion. Because what I really want to do is talk about it's not your fault that you have dysfunction in the bedroom due to the fact of a religious belief and a religious dogma. Yeah, I get that. You know, the fact that, you know, me as a divorced male, I can't get into church, certain churches, because, you know, but if I pay them cash, boy, they'll take that and annul it. It never happened. And, you know, to me, that's kind of crazy, you know. But hey, there are people that do that because they are having issues in the bedroom because they can't take the sacraments. They can't be a part of a organized religion. And I get that. So it's not your fault that this dogma that you grew up with, that this society places upon us, that we are struggling with these issues. I think that the solution to it is take each one of the beliefs and say, well, is this real? Let's really look at that and understand where this came from and what is the value of it. As I've matured, not that I am mature, as I have matured, I've noticed that there are certain things, values, belief systems, goals, dreams that I've had that I needed to throw away. Why? Because I'm not going to the Olympics this year. So my Olympic dreams kind of went by the wayside. You know, Circus du Soleil. I'm not going to be a part of that. I just can't bend that way anymore. You know, a certain athletic event. No, I'm not going to do that. Certain financial goals. Yeah, I'm going to be able to hit those. I got no problem with that. The number of sexual experiences that I'm going to have, I can still work on those. But there are other things like I'm not interested in a lot of possessions. I want to live in a house that is moderate, but it's going to have a killer view, just an absolute killer view. And it does. So my point here is that we need to be aware of what it is that we are wanting in our religious beliefs. You know, I am really confused by the statement that many religions state that if you don't believe the way we do, then you're not going to heaven. And the reason why is I'm very logical. And I believe that if two religions or more say the same thing, somebody's got to be wrong. And more than likely, all of them got to be wrong in my particular religious beliefs. All right, so how can we overcome it? Well, we've got to understand that our religious leaders and the people speaking from the pulpit are humans. They're making mistakes. And, you know, we shouldn't be listening to what their interpretation is. We should be seeking traditions and rituals from them as long as they promote a well-being. And you know, the religious leaders that condemn and damn, those aren't real. That isn't real. If you know, persecution, come on, that isn't how things should work. And understand that because of that, the bedroom is a place of conflict. It's not a place of enjoyment or pleasure. So We have to understand that there's these outside forces that we didn't understand, that we were actually bringing in this baggage with us, but we have to be able to weed out and understand where this stuff comes from. And if it's no longer valid, well, take out the trash. Just take out the trash. We have a lot of outside pressures from us, or from society, from religion, from our families, that we have no concept. It makes us anxious, it makes us stressed, it makes us overwhelmed, angry. So we need to be able to fix that. Otherwise, we're going to be destroying relationships that are intimate. And when we do that, that means that nothing's going to be happening. So when we start to express ourselves physically and spiritually, we don't want to panic. We want to be able to talk about sex and let it flow. We want to be able to talk about our roles and our gender. You know, when I was growing up, the man took care of the outside, the woman took care of everything on the inside. Well, that's a bunch of malarkey. That's no longer valid in today's society. If I've done lives on how to be intimate with your partner, and you've got to describe what these roles are going to be and how everything's going to work out. Because if one person is doing all the work, let me tell you, there's going to be resentment and there's going to be no action. All right? So, how do we fix all this? It's easy. You can comment and ask me, and I've always got an opinion. Then what can happen is that you can sit down and start to really research your religious views. Where'd they come from? How did that religion get to that point? An example, food. There are certain foods that back in the day, 2,000 years ago, yeah, you eat that, it'll kill you. But today, because we have different processing and different food sources and the way that the animals are kept and how they're tested and the USDA, it's not a problem anymore. So why are we still holding on to that dogma? So my whole point is we got to discard those different values and belief systems that no longer are viable in our lives. A great one. How about this one? Don't talk to strangers. Well, if I couldn't talk to strangers, I wouldn't know anybody because they're dying. My friends are dying. How did I get to know some of these people? I had to talk to a stranger. Wow. Yeah, we learned that at a very early age, and it was to protect us. At about 18, that little statement should have gone in the trash can and be gone. How about this one? Money is the root of all things. Well, I don't have that view at all. I'm in the top 10% income earners. Okay, money is a tool. Tools can be used for good. That's my belief system. If you don't have that, go ahead, comment. Tell me what you think. I'm expecting to get some feedback on this because the whole point of this video is for you to be happier and healthier. You to have vitality and performance. And all I'm doing is pointing at different areas where there are problems. And it's not your fault. You just go ahead, comment. We can talk. We can flesh this out. That noise right there means that there's going to be a rocket launch soon. I have to go. Thank you for coming. You have a great day.